Okay, we are live. That was the conclusion of week 6 of UFL action. The season is more than halfway done from spring football, and the games have picked up substantially compared to week 1. My goodness, week 1 was a total slot fest, but there was some time off and from the end of the NFL season, and everybody kind of sat through a little bit of March Madness before things got rolling. A couple ideas for the UFL maybe next year is to get it going right after the Super Bowl or start actually the week before when there's that weekend where nothing's going on. There's absolutely nothing going on. So why not premiere your league when everybody's at peak Super Bowl frenzy? It would just make perfect sense to do so. Get all these viewers in here, get everything going on so we're able to have a bigger audience. And that's what we want. Thanks for tuning into the show this week. This is my 6th show, I believe. Just trying to make sure that I get some things taken care of here where I can see. Oh man, pardon my having an error here. Usually, okay, there we go. Okay, so again, we're here at the conclusion of week 6 for the UFL. We can do a recap of the week in charge, or not in charge, just the week in general. The first game that we want to talk about is the game on Friday night when it was Arlington playing St. Louis. Man, what a sloppy football game all around. Luis Perez is really looking pedestrian lately. You can tell he's locked into the game, but it's just not happening. He's not able to get things going. A lot of loose football by him. I thought that there was some issues with pass protection for Arlington. I mean, St. Louis was getting at it. They're very tough at home. It was just an all-around sloppy football game. The Battlehawks do win. They are tough at home is a big win for them. We just, we need to know more about what Luis Perez really is. When we go to, the standings for the UFL, let's take a look here. As standings currently sit, so we got Michigan in the USFL division. We got Michigan in first place. They're 4-2. Birmingham it hasn't been updated yet, but they are 4-2 as well. Houston is 3-3, and Memphis is climbing up the rear at 1-5. And in the XFL division, we got DC and St. Louis tied at 4-2. Arlington is right behind them at 3-3, and San Antonio is 1-5. Based on the game that we saw today, San Antonio looks really bad. I mean, man, defense especially. But I'll get to that game in a minute. So let's just go back, to the scores. So Friday's game was, Arlington playing in St. Louis. Both teams kind of looked really having a hard time moving the football. I don't know if that's an attribute to the defenses of both teams. I mean, this was a good matchup. They're both trying to fight to get in that playoff. There's not a lot of margin for error at this point of the season. And Luis Perez just simply looks like he's either going to be the catalyst or he's just going to be the downfall of this team. We're going to see what Bob Stoops does. I'm intrigued to see what Bob Stoops does here. And as far as the Battlehawks go, well, Max Duggan looked really normal. Looks like a lot of one-read quarterback stuff going on there. Hakeem Butler lit it up the week before, and they had a real hard time finding him the ball this week. They've got great players there. They're 4-2. I'm sure that they're okay at 4-2. I don't want to say that any team's ever satisfied at any moment because that's just not realistic. But at 4-2, that's not a bad spot where you want to be, this far in the season with 4 weeks to go. And you're up there in your playoff race, so that's always where you want to be. They've got that monstrous home crowd, but man, did they struggle. Both teams looked like they were just a pitiful football. But a lot of times, you just need a good defense. And Max Duggan, as I said in the broadcast, hasn't had a ton of reps, hasn't played a ton of football. I mean, I know he was drafted by the Chargers, cut by the Chargers, and this is really the only action that he's seen. And with that being said, we have to be mindful that you need reps. And there's a lot of quarterback shifting in this league, a lot of it. I think it's more than any team's really comfortable with. A lot of teams really, from what it seems, minus Luis Perez, and now Michigan didn't really have a grip on who they want to play at quarterback this late in the season. That could be an issue now. You got a team like Birmingham where there's injuries galore. That's different. But when you're taking players in and out of the game, first 2 weeks I can kind of see it because you're trying to get a feel. There's no preseason. Camp is very short. There's things the UFL can change next year in order to fix something like that. But in the meantime, this is the product that we have. But it was a close, tough game on Friday night. I do wish the UFL would come off of Friday nights. It's just people work all week. I don't think the league's popular enough yet to where they're able to say, hey, let's have this game on Friday night and we're just going to have a ton of attendance. I mean, there's a Cardinals game, there's a St. Louis Blues game. They're going to make excuses. St. Louis fans always show up, but have these games on the weekend on your big networks. They're getting there. I think that I don't think the league's in trouble. I know people are in panic about the attendance figures, but there's no need to be. There's no need to panic about any of that stuff. The league's going to be fine. I think it's going to heat up with the playoff race. The only team that really feels mostly out of it is San Antonio. I mean, I know Memphis had their struggle, but let's segue into the game on Saturday. Houston had a nice run lately. Memphis comes to town. Memphis looked great last week in their win. It went to overtime against Birmingham. I mean, it's another road game for them. But I felt that there was momentum, a little bit of momentum. I mean, is it better? You don't buy too much into that. But I do feel that they've rallied. And they played a close game. I mean, they played a close game. It was a 1-point game. It came down to the end. There was scoring. Both quarterbacks. I mean, I do like Wynn's throwing motion. When he's got time and he stays in there, man, that dude can throw a laser. Memphis got a guy in him. I think he should play the rest of the season. I think that they rallied around him. Houston's a really good defense, but it just wasn't meant to be. You know, it came down, couldn't get a stop late in the game. Houston ran the clock out. It's just tough sledding sometimes in this league. It's tough sledding anytime in football, if we're being honest. It's tough to win from week to week. But Houston did their job, got the W in the thick of the playoff race. And ultimately, that's what matters more than anything else in any sports is winning. It's the same thing with the line on that game was Memphis. I got it at +2.5. Very happy with that because it covers. I mean, you get those sweat bets a little bit too when you see a team like Arlington. I'm sorry, a team like Houston or any team. They can just break one, or you got that. What is it? What does Scott Van Pelt call it? That pitchy woo woo, the tossing the football back and forth, and somebody can scoop and score it, or some kind of crazy penalty, or you just. I mean, it's just wild. It's one of the wild things about betting and betting in this league. We went 2-2. I went 2-2 this weekend. I went 4-0 last weekend. I've got a substantial winning record in UFL betting. I believe I'm at 70%. I've been on a heater lately with my bets. And if you follow me on X, you'll see I post my bets. And if you follow me here on YouTube, you'll see I post those daily. So there's a record that's kept there for sure. I mean, I've hit, I think, 15 of my last 18 bets. So we are just red hot. We're going to keep that going. And we're going to keep going with the NBA playoffs and Major League Baseball this week. I mean, that's not really a whole lot of what we're discussing here on this channel, but there's going to be a lull when there's, when UFL ends in June, and then you've got that time from June to NFL preseason. It's just going to be Canadian football, which May the 12th, preseason starts in CFL. I will have my eyes peeled. You'll be able to tune into me and see my picks and see what's going on in the Canadian Football League with their wonky rules, but fun football. Remember, in CFL, you only get 3 downs. You got a 55-yard line. You got a much bigger field. You got 20-yard end zones. And they have ruled points. So if you punt the football, I believe you punt the football out of the back of the end zone, you get a point. If you kick a field goal, even if you miss it, it goes out of the back of the end zone, you get a point. I know there was a meme last year. There was a game-winning field goal attempt. He missed it wild left, but because it went out of the back of the end zone, they still won the game of celebrating. It's funniest stuff I've ever seen. But that's Canada. God bless you, Canada. But, you're Canada. I want Bret the Hitman Hart, everybody's favorite Canadian wrestler. So But let's go back to, like I said, Saturday's game with Memphis and Houston. It was a good football game. Came down to the end. Either team could have pulled that out. But, I think it hurt Memphis a lot more because, obviously they're 1-5. I don't know if there's a path to the playoff for them without them winning out and some help, and that's never a situation you want to be in. That's why you have to establish your quarterbacks early. So establishing your quarterbacks, trying to get some stability and some rhythm means everything. But let's segue into today's games. Michigan -2 felt like free money. I felt Michigan was going to blow them out. They did. They absolutely did. Bryce Perkins on his way to being the league MVP. The man is the master of the RPO. I think that he's going to get an NFL invite. He's so big and so athletic, it makes people miss. And when he runs those RPOs, you really have to account for tackling somebody that big. It's like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts doesn't look like a monster on TV, but the man squats 600 pounds. It's not typical for quarterbacks. But when you're big and tall, can run the football, make people miss. The dude was making everybody miss today. And I think it helped his MVP case for another reason, because today's game, the defenders did a poor job defending. They missed a lot of tackles. And I wonder if it's either they're a poor tackling football team or if it's Bryce Perkins just absolutely making them pay. It could be either one of those. Either one of those can definitely happen. So just kind of keep your eyes peeled for how Michigan plays next week. Perkins is, he was trending. He's grossly popular. He's a face of this league. And we want UFL football to succeed because we love to bet on it. This channel is all about betting. It's all about betting. It's all about football. Those are our two biggest things that we discuss on this channel. But yeah, like I said, Michigan at +2 or -2. I just felt like it was going to be -6 when I was doing it in my head, and jumped all over that line and did not even feel close. Game got out of hand almost at halftime. They're just moving the ball at will. And Jordan Ta'amu, he didn't look terrible. He made some deep plays down the field and didn't quit on the team. And, the defenders have been rallying around their coach, and they're a team that's had quarterback stability all year. There's no doubt who their quarterback is. There's no doubt that Abram Smith could run the ball for them. There's no doubt who those players are. They're lucky to have that kind of stability in this league, and I think it's going to pay off for them. We'll see whether it matches up playoff time if they qualify. It's going to be a race. Both teams have 3 team races, with San Antonio and Memphis being at 1-5 apiece. We don't think that they're going to get in. So we're going to see if Arlington gets in there. We're going to see if Houston gets in there. And Houston, everybody seems to like them because they got momentum. I can't say I blame them. It's been exciting. There's zero doubt that they've been exciting football. So we're going to keep our eyes peeled and see how this season plays out. So it's a great game. Michigan just absolutely, showed you why you want to watch this league. Exciting plays, big offense. Both teams were just lighting the scoreboard up. But one absolutely had a dynamic quarterback play today. And that's what you want as a head coach. The funny part is Perkins lost his helmet one play. They just run a draw play, scores touchdown. So everything seemed to be on par with Michigan today, and good for them at home. If you live in the Michigan area, you need to get out there. If you're in Detroit, just go out and see them. The weather hasn't broke there. Go out and see your football teams. You guys need to get out there if you live in these cities. We don't have one where I live. And because we don't have one, I have to watch everything on TV. Otherwise, I'd be out there. Tickets are affordable. What's not to love about going to a football game? It's so early in the baseball season, unless you're seeing some crazy stuff like Aaron Judge hitting bombs or something like that, something historic in April. In May, you're really just kind of going along with regular season stuff. But in these football games, you got limited time, and we're more than halfway through the season, so you should get out there. Let's, speaking of crowds that kind of emptied out, I want to go back to the Houston game. Boy, was that a dismal crowd. They said 4,000 tickets sold. Where was everybody? I don't know if there's something going on in Houston. But man, that was the worst crowd of the week. So that leads us to the Birmingham game. I liked San Antonio getting 10 points. That's a very gracious amount of points. I know they've been struggling to find the end zone, struggled again today, struggle. 10 is a lot in this league. 10 is a lot in any league. 10 is a lot of points. It's almost hard to say no to it. And we know that they brought in a quarterback with Kevin Hogan, who had some experience at Stanford and has played a little bit, but has a little rusty. And I thought they might be in a position, with Kellen Mond not playing. Maybe they could refocus. Sometimes it like to spark. I thought they could keep it close. And for the first half, they did. The defense kept bailing them out. But offensively, the first play of the game, Hogan throws a 75-yard pass, and then they can't punch it in and miss the field goal. Like, that is just demoralizing for a football team. It's a testament to see a little bit for the coaching staff how your team's going to respond after an opening flub like that to get no points on the board. And San Antonio just never got it going. McFarland got injured. Still close. But at the end of the half, when you let Amari Rodgers break that touchdown, I mean, man, that's another dagger, big plays. I made it a two-possession game. And the defensive back for San Antonio, number 3, had 2 pivotal missed plays. The first one was on that touchdown. Maybe I'm wrong from the camera angle, but it looked like he got bullied, but didn't even try to get up and recover in time. I mean, I know at the end of the play, it looks like he's chasing him down, but just didn't seem to be. And then later you have undisciplined football, offsides on field goal kicks. That's unacceptable. I don't care what level of football it is, NFL. I don't care. I never want to hear it. I don't care if I'm a critic. You can't be jumping off sides on field goal. You can't be committing personal fouls, jumping over the center. That's not allowed. Don't do it. Here's some advice for special teams coaches. When it's time for a field goal, line your team up and get the push. Don't jump the snap. Don't jump the center. Easy. Rinse, repeat. Make the kicker make the kick. Make him put the pressure on him to make the kick. I'd rather you defend against a field goal, fake field goal, which is unlikely, but make the kick, make the play happen, make them execute, right? Also, the same thing with any kind of procedure penalties. Even Birmingham had one where you're a wide receiver and you're running a go route on a snap count. You're looking this way. Now, I've never played wide receiver, but I just don't understand, and there's no crowd imbalances, and you're at home. When you look down the line of scrimmage, you just have to wait for the center to move the ball. You don't need to hear nothing. You don't need to see nothing. You're not going to get any kind of crazy edge, I don't think, by going on a cadence instead of going on watching the snap when you're a wide receiver or in the slot, or whatever the case may be. The only people that really need to have that are the offensive lineman, the tight end, and the quarterback's trying to play that kind of snap judgment with the defense and get them to jump off sides. So there were some sloppy things in that game. The game did kind of drag. I mean, Birmingham, talk about resilience. I mean, quarterback after quarterback. You got Magoo out. You've got Coral out. You're opting with Cookus. And then you're switching at quarterback today. You got Jamar Smith back there. He's quarterback 3. So I don't know how Birmingham keeps doing it, but they keep doing it. And San Antonio might have been the right team to pull out these wins, because these wins are obviously critical as you're going through a playoff push. But we're going to see what they do at the quarterback position. Now, there was some breaking news during the game that they said that Alex Magoo may come back this season, and that would be huge for them. And I thought Matt Corral was doing a really good job. I thought he would have absolutely, lit the scoreboard up today. But it was Case Cookus, and he played okay. He didn't play terrible. He's a serviceable backup, and I think he'll probably get the start against next week. I do. And I think that Birmingham is going to be definitely making waves. I mean, man, there's some kind of legacy there. I mean, if you play football in the state of Alabama, you're going to be good. Let's just call a spade a spade. Haters in the comments can say what they want, but that's just how they do it. And with that being said, I'm going to take a look and see if next week's lines are posted. I like to look. I mean, obviously, when you're betting, you shop around and try to get the best price for whatever betting you like to do. You always want to find the best odds. There's zero doubt about that. You want to find who's got the lowest amount of VIG and make your plays accordingly. But sometimes you just want to try and get, with this not being a major league, you really got to be able to take a look around. All right, so let's do a quick preview of next week's games. Lines are up. These lines are via DraftKings. We got DC playing at San Antonio next Friday night. DC is a 6.5-point favorite on the road. I want to see what San Antonio does. If they're going to stick with Hogan at quarterback? Are they going to go back to Kellen Mond? Have they phoned it in? I think it's a really fair line. It's a really tough line. Probably the toughest one. I haven't even looked at the other ones yet, but that one feels like it's going to be one of the toughest lines of the week. So Saturday, we have Michigan at Arlington. Michigan -1. Again, how's Bob Stoops going to react to this? Based on the VIG here, they've got it at -115 if you want to take the point on Arlington, but it's -105 if you want to lay the point in Michigan. So with Michigan having the MVP performance by their quarterback, but they're only 1-point underdogs or 1-point favorites on the road. So that tells you that either one of two things is happening. Either Vegas has lost its mind on this spread, or they realize that Arlington's going through it, and how these points are scored aren't indicative of how they're going to be played next week. And that's what matters the most. Then our Sunday doubleheader, we got Houston at Birmingham. We got Houston getting 6-point a 6-point dog there. I think that's a generous line. I think 6 is a lot for a team that, they just had a win, and Birmingham also won. Birmingham won decisively. This might be an overreaction here because quarterback play was really just, I don't know if they're 6 points better than Houston. I just don't. 6 is a touchdown. They've seemed to kind of come around on these points to cap the league better, because they're not doing 7s, they're not doing 4s and 3s, really. And 6 is your key number because conversion rates aren't quite what they seem to be. We do see a lot more teams going for 1, and I think that's going to make a difference in how we cap these games for the rest of the year. I wonder if next year, if the UFL is going to go for extra points, I think it would help viewership. I know that people think it's just such an easy, lazy point, but if, it's just people like seeing scores that they're comfortable with, 17-14, instead of scores like 18-6. I mean, I wonder if the basic casual football fan looks at these scores and be like, man, there's just something going on there. It's just a take. That's just a hot take. Don't quote me on that. I don't think the league's going to change it, but I think they should. And that segues into our other game is St. Louis at Memphis. St. Louis is a 4-point favorite. Now, when we look here, St. Louis is going to have, this will be their 3rd week of Max Duggan. They'll have Hakeem Butler. They'll be on the road at a Memphis team. And if you live in the Memphis area or over there in Mississippi, right there in Arkansas on the lines, get to the Liberty Bowl. Get out there. Go see your showboats. Go see them. What else are you going to do in Memphis? The basketball season's over. You going to watch some minor league baseball? Or would you catch some football? You're blessed to have a franchise in your city. Go see it. Get out there. We want to keep this league going. We need some attendance out there in Memphis. But St. Louis 4-point favorite. The VIG is -110 on either side of this wager. I think that's really close too. I mean, if I had to lean, I would lean taking the points, but I think St. Louis has a better roster overall. I mean, I definitely like Memphis's quarterback, and it's just a wait and see. Man, they're finally starting to really cap this a lot better. So it's going to be a good wager either side of that ball, but that's what we got going on next week as far as football goes. And then also next Monday, I believe, is when the CFL, like I said, the CFL preseason kicks off, but I don't think that's available on our sites yet. No, there's nothing up except who's going to win the Grey Cup. But going back to the UFL for just a moment here for futures, what we got left remaining. So this is what everybody is thinking, what they've set the lines for who the champion will be, and it's Birmingham plus 275. So they still have Birmingham as the overall favorite to be the champion. St. Louis is there at plus 300, Michigan 350. I think there's your value. DC at 475. That could be pretty good. That might be worth something there too. Arlington at 550. I don't think they're a championship football team. I don't. I would run like the wind on that. And then Houston at plus 1,000 is fun. Houston at plus 1,000 is like, it's just appealing because it just, to me, they're the most fun story, right? They started off so lousy and everybody was all over their coach, and now they keep winning. They've got decent quarterback play, and their defense is, man, I think plus 1,000, 10-1. I mean, why not jump on that? Why not take that? That'd be a fun bet. Plus 1,000 on the Roughnecks. I like that. That'd probably be the other one I like. And then Memphis is plus 7,500. Yeah, San Antonio's 100-1. I don't think, neither one of those teams, I don't think would be able to make some noise. But Houston plus 1,000, I mean, and Michigan plus 350. That appears to be, those are the two teams that I would like to just kind of keep my eyes peeled on and go from there. So, but I do have two viewers. So down from last week, I had a pretty good crew here last week. All my videos are down, but we're just going to keep going at it because we love to talk UFL football. We love to talk Canadian football, and we'll be talking during the season some Major League Baseball. This is all about sports and sports betting. And if you shoot me a DM on X, it's at Justin Paul Sport. I can get you on at BetUS at 125 deposit bonus 3 times. So it's not like DraftKings where you get like these stupid single game parlay bonuses. You deposit $100, you're going to get a $125 bonus 3 times. Not once, not twice, thrice, 3 times, baby. Back to back to back. So just check on the link on my X page. It'll take you right to it, or shoot me a DM, and I will get you set up. And that is Week 6 UFL recap with a preview of next week. And thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you next time.